Hello world, it's vlog089 or something. It's Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, 10:11 p.m. I was just watching a film with a friend, so on an open call, and it's the Spider-Man movie. So the purpose of these vlogs is to document the present and to just be observing reality and not really have any agenda. And observe the mind at work. Because the human mind in person is very interesting. No, not just very interesting. It's one of the most awesome and awe-inspiring phenomena in the world and processes in the world. And to observe it, where it goes is endlessly fascinating, more so than the most fantastic narrative story, epic journey, because it's reality, it's happening now, and by observing it, you get to know reality and the truth. The truth. I saw a tweet today about base truth does not exist. It is from, I think his name was like Chris or something, co-founder of Notion, and I really wanted to type something back. I couldn't think of anything, and I just moved on with my day. But now I just realized I have the answer. The base truth is the ray of light touching your eye, the wavelength, the vibrations of the air touching your ears, the sense data going into your senses, and your mind, making inferences from it to know some facts based on its own experience. And for you, your whole lifetime, your experience of physical laws and some patterns has been static, has been unchanging. And so those patterns are basically laws. For all intents and purposes, they are the truth. They are static laws of the universe. Of course, they may not be in the long stretches of time of trillions of years and whatever is beyond that, and they may not be in the other scales, in the nanoscale and the microscale. The thing is, you can reason, you can reason, your mind can do simple logic, rules of logic, and infer. So that's the truth. Another thing that comes up is computations, simple laws of operations of arithmetic, adding two numbers, subtracting, moving. So yeah, basically those are the core functions of a computer, of a CPU, central processing unit, that processes sets of instructions that to move bits in memory. So what is it that is interesting? What is it that's pertinent? What is it that's critical? What is it that's burning? What is it that's most true in this moment? The most truest form that your mind can take in this moment is, and finish the sentence. That's the prompt to yourself. Tools of thoughts. Tools of thoughts. How is your mind? How is your mind operating? What is its functions right now? And how do you interact with the world? The tools around you. You have agency right now. You have the freedom to do anything in the world. Question is, what do you do? And you have your experiences, and you have what's within your reach. And the question is, what do you do? And so what is it? So like, you may be trapped in patterns of thinking that are missing some point, missing some opportunity, missing some trapdoor that it can open and get ahead in the maze. Chutes and ladders, like are you able to step over the snakes, chutes and ladders, or snakes and ladders? It's this ancient game where you roll a dice and you take steps, and if you can look it up. The interesting is, like, if you become aware of how your mind operates and of you become aware of certain things around the world, you may be able to improve your agency such that you step on the ladders and avoid the snakes or the chutes. And then you are Neo in the Matrix and you become free. Is Neo in the Matrix the allegory for the programmer? This is my claim in a conversation I had at the tea house last. What day was it? It was like Thursday. It was last week. It was amazing. That was like, I think that was the most amazing episode. Like, that was last Thursday, all right? And every single day in San Francisco is like an episode of endless, interesting beauty and awesomeness. And then Friday was something else. Saturday was the AGI house, which is like a lot of open doors of avenues to explore. Tools of thought. Now that's what I'm orbiting around right now, of these conversations, these threads. How do you use the tools around you, the tools of the computers that can do these simple thinking, arithmetic, and now that's able to actually think at human level as through the LLM? How do you employ these tools such that you step on the snakes and avoid the ladders and the chutes? So that's the job of the creative technologist that creates these software tools, and that's my job. And that was Steve Jobs' Steve Jobs' job, and watch some of his interviews from the 90s, like early 90s. They're some of the best. He was like 36 and working at Next, and talking about how we're going to network all the computers in the 90s and how we just figured out computing in the 80s, and how the next 5 years is going to give us just as much opportunities and more opportunities than any previous period of 5 years before. And from the first computer that was 1977, the Apple II, or 78, and the first IBM PC in 1982, the computer industry has taken off and transformed the world. And most people are really oblivious to the fact how it has transformed us in the world and what its potential truly is. And that's the really interesting part, how few of us are really aware of what computers are. And for me, tying it back to the present moment of this Tuesday in the Soma neighborhood of San Francisco, I am writing code in order to build tools for writing to solve a business problem so that I can solve and work for people, and so I can provide some value for people, so that I can develop further my artistry and craft, and develop the writing assistant into the further applications of the LLM into tools of thought, tools of knowledge organization, knowledge discovery. And particularly through these hackathons, I am just so inspired by other people that listen, hear, see and hear my kind of ideas, and then they reverberate, and other people are inspired. They take one part or 2 parts, or they take the whole thing and then they rehash it, and then they create something, and then I hear it and I see it, and I'm like, wow, I hear echoes of my own ideas there, and then I see copying, but I also see innovations and focusing on some really good parts, and then I'm like, wow, that influences me, impacts me. For example, things like the Rome Research founder, who I just got to meet and talk to, get to know over the weekend, and other hackers at the hackathon, people creating this second brain, this idea that an LLM can have access to your thoughts, your interests, and then be ready to give you and extend your knowledge. So that just the idea of a writing assistant, an agent that really gives you what you really want to write before you want to write it. Or the project that I worked on, which can be accessed at gardenpaths.vercel.app, a tool that you write a sentence, and then it generates 3 next sentences for you, and then you can pick one, and then so on. It does that into ever forking paths of a story that you write and you read at the same time. So it's 15 minutes. Mine's off. I'll end it there. Peace.